Good morning and welcome to the press review after the hour of 9 on January 16, 2023. Today is Monday and you are with me, Helbert Kadanda. I'm joined by
Brennan Mwanza.
All right, as usual, we have the Nation newspaper and the Daily Times newspaper. So we are going to assess the happenings pertaining to what the papers have carried. And to begin with the Daily Times newspaper, on the front page, there are two stories, and one of it being diplomats' quandary. And that's, of course, the headline. There is a sub-headline which says, learn from Chilembwe's patriotism. That's according to the state president. Partly, the story says President Lazarus Chakwera has urged people in the country to learn from John Chilembwe's sense of patriotism, saying the patriotism will manifest once people start loving one another. Chakwera made the remarks at Providence Industrial Mission in Chiradzulu district, where he led Malawians in commemorations marking Chilembwe Day yesterday. The country observes the day on January 15th in honor of Chilembwe's heroic deeds against the colonial masters.
Right, and on the front page of the Nation, of course, there is another story related to the Chilembwe Day, but with a headline which says, stop insulting Chilima and Chakwera. Usi urges people to help authorities solve challenges. And partly the story reads, Minister of Tourism, Culture and Wildlife, Michael Usi, has taken a swipe at some sections of society for castigating President Lazarus Chakwera and Vice President Saulos Chilima. Speaking in Chiradzulu yesterday during the John Chilembwe Day celebrations at Providence Industrial Mission, the minister said some people in the country have lost their moral compass, warning them to change and join authorities in solving the country's socio-economic challenges.
Well, it's interesting that most of the times politicians divert from the topic, from the usual topic to politics, because what we see from the minister's remarks is clearly politics. Yeah, because you can say stop inciting Chakwera and Chilima while people are commemorating the John Chilembwe.
Instead of focusing on what are we learning from
what are we learning from what John Chilembwe achieved. You start talking about people who are still alive. And I think that's what we should run away from. Because if we manage to stick to be in track with the topic of the day, I think that's when we can achieve more as Malawians.
And as you are saying, your point, of course, the president also hinted on the hate, disunity, and the spirit of tit for tat, he says so, among people in the country, which says need to change so that the country moves in unison towards development. Of course, he focused on the spirit that Chilembwe had of doing everything for the country, not just for himself or his relatives, observing there are still some people in the country who think about themselves and their tribes. You can see that he had to bend to the spirit that Chilembwe had, which was, I think, actually what had to be said based on the commemoration that we had yesterday.
And you know, we know Chilembwe for his deeds against the colonial masters. You know, right now we are talking of corruption issues involving Asian of India, of Malawians of Asian origin, rather. You see that they have really dominated the country, and we don't know what kati ziri jani kubwera kuno chifukwa ziyiro fika ponyanya. So what we are saying is banji titatengera ko chitsanzo cha John Chilembwe, what he was doing, what he was advocating for, and see what he tingapindule banja as a country.
All right, moving on the pages.
All right, on the second page of the Daily Times newspaper, there appears Forex situation remains erratic, and that's according to the Minister of Finance, Sosten Gwenge. And that's, of course, the headline. Partly the story says Finance Minister Sosten Gwenge says Forex supply remains erratic in the country, banking his hopes on the tobacco season. In an interview, Gwenge said if the Forex problem is left unchecked, the country may continue to sell in trouble economic quarters. He spoke on Friday when the central bank loosened its control on the local currency by introducing forex auctions, which would be used as the instruments for determining the true value of the local currency.
Right, and on the fourth page of the Nation newspaper, Agriculture Committee, HRDC, want to see convictions. The Parliamentary Committee on Agriculture has told government to stop hoodwinking the citizenry with numerous suspensions of public officers that do not have any impact on curbing corruption in the public service. Speaking in an interview yesterday, the committee's chairperson, Samia Suleiman, said Malawians were tired of suspensions that are executed just to blindfold people as if something is being done. He was reacting to the suspension of National Food Reserve Agency Chief Executive Officer Brenda Kayongo last Friday over the missing of 7,500 bucks of the strategic grain reserve maize worth 123 million kwacha.
That's exactly what happens in our country, Malawi. You find that people have been suspended, and then you don't hear anything from the authorities, and wonder why they would act like that on serious issues like AIP, on serious issues like ADMAG.
You see, let me just wait. Actually, what mostly pains is that when such officers are being found or being alleged to have swindled such amount of money, they will be taken to court.
Yeah.
Once they are given bail, the case is closed.
The case is closed. Then
completely closed.
Completely closed. That's exactly what happens to our audit reports. Now we are talking about the audit report of the recent Chizuma report.
Yes.
Yes, it has been released, but we haven't heard anything from the president. I think that's also the end of that story. So there is a lot that needs to be done if we are to achieve what we want in Malawi.
Fighting corruption cannot come to an end in a country where we only expect police to act or to pounce on the suspect and later on leave them, let them scot-free. And then we say we are really doing much in fighting corruption. I think we are really joking.
Yeah, we are joking. We joke a lot in Malawi.
Yes.
We joke a lot. And talking about the issue of corruption, you find that the ones who are on the forefront to fight corruption, they are the ones shielding other people. Just because they are their relatives, you find that those people, they are affiliated to their Malawi, their political party. So you wonder why the whole president or the whole vice president or a public officer is there shielding someone just because he or she belongs to the party he supports. So I think there is a lot that needs to be done. If it starts from if it starts with the authorities, the leaders themselves, if they start showing that interest in fighting corruption, I think we are going to achieve the corruption fight come 2025. But if it remains like this, I don't think.
All right, it's 17 after 9. Let's move on to business. Looking at some of the stories that are appearing in the business sections for the Nation newspaper. RBM faulted on forex auctions. Stakeholders fear move could trigger sharp depreciation. The introduction of periodic foreign exchange auctions by the Reserve Bank of Malawi has attracted mixed views, with stakeholders faulting the move, saying it will trigger a sharp depreciation of the kwacha. In a statement on Friday, RBM Governor Usun Banda justified the move, saying it will facilitate the discovery of a prevailing market clearing exchange rate for the kwacha against major currencies, thereby promoting transparency in the determination of the exchange rate.
All right, there is of course a similar story on one of the business pages in the Daily Times newspaper, so I will not go through that.
All right.
And another story talks about JB speaks on industrialization, and that's of course the headline partly. The story says former President Joyce Banda has said people in the country have the potential to venture into industrialization if they work together and learn from one another. Banda made the remarks when she officiated recognition and awarding the renowned business person Napoleon Zombe, who got an honorary professorship of entrepreneurial development. She said the only way Malawi can develop is by coming up with different innovations that will bring forex to the country.
So now it's Professor Napoleon Zombe. Yeah. Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
He's really a hard worker.
Yeah.
He's a real visionary person.
Yeah, he deserves to be a professor.
Yes. All right, we'll move on to international stories because time is not on our side. UN chief agencies urge energy reform. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has urged the international community to expedite the transition to renewable energy technologies to prevent a climate catastrophe. He said this in a video message to the 13th session of the International Renewable Energy Agency ARENA assembly that took place at the weekend in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, where he also unveiled a 5-point plan to facilitate the transition from fossil fuels.
All right, on the international news page in the Daily Times newspaper, there appears dozens killed as plane crashes near Nepal airport, and that's of course the headline. Partly the story says dozens of people have been killed after a plane with 72 people on board crashed near airport in central Nepal. The Jet Airlines flight from Kathmandu to the tourist town of Pokhara crashed on landing before catching fire.
Actually, I was also checking the same story this morning before the program. It's really disheartening to see how the accident has occurred, and leaving more people, dozens, as they have indicated, dozens of them killed, others seriously injured.
Over 72 people have been killed.
This is so ndingozi opsha kuti and kuti airport imene ndege imene mayembekeze kuti ikatereko ndi airport yoti mwina is 2 weeks old. It's 2 weeks old, and it's really disheartening. Ndizondisa mantha kuti mtsogolo muno mwina akazamba kuopa.
Yesterday I was checking a certain video which is circulating of one passenger in the plane who was shooting a video a few hours before the crash. So it really shows the Anhanajira Manta, and it wasn't good because the man was taking a video and he was shooting the plane with the Tilibagut, and now now taking a video of himself speaking, and now that's when the crash occurred. So ndizochititsa mantha zomvetsa chisoni, ndi ngozi ya ndege imakhala nthawi zambiri ngozi yayikulu kwambiri.
Ndi ngozi zimene sizimachitika koma zomvetsa chisoni kuti zikachitika zimakhala zoopsa kuti ambiri amapeza otaya miyoyo. So mizimu yawo yonse ndimtendere.
All right, so now on the back pages of the Daily Times newspaper and the Nation newspaper. On the back page of the Daily Times newspaper, there appears dual faces bullets axes, the first story, and of course that's the headline. There is a sub-headline which says Badu Wali contracts likely to be terminated, and that's of course Partly louder, the story says Nyasa Big Bullets, Ghanaian defender Eric Badu and Haj Wali have been marked for dismissal for various reasons. Times Sports can review. Badu, who signed a 2-year contract last year after passing trials, has failed to make the grade, prompting Bullets hearsay to demand that he be sacked. On the other hand, Wali, who reportedly signed a 3-year contract last year, has been recommended for firing on other grounds.
Right, on the back page of the Nation newspaper, Silver Board meets supporters as fans question board on players' recruitment. The Silver Strikers Company board on Saturday held a meeting with the club's leaders from zonal supporters committees to iron out some misunderstandings. At the meeting in Lilongwe, the zonal leaders questioned the rationale of the board recruiting players without first employing a coach. Northern Region Zonal Leader Joshua Chinguo described the meeting as fruitful. Rather, he said another outstanding issue was the proposal by the board to do away with the National Supporters Committee and instead empower zonal leaders to elect a national coordinator who will be the liaison officer between the board and the supporters.
Well, having looked at that, let's now have a quick look at some of the international sports stories. On the international sports page in the Daily Times newspaper, there is a story which says dominant Brighton sent Liverpool to have a defeat, and that's of course the headline. Partly the story says Robert De Zerbi says his Brighton side have a dream of qualifying for Europe as solely marks a double and let Daniel Welbeck strike condemned Liverpool to 3-0 over defeat at the Amex Stadium.
The club is concerned after the worst Liverpool game. And he really must be concerned, very concerned. All right, international sports in the National newspaper. Man United overcome City 2-1 in Derby. Erik ten Hag admitted Manchester United had been taken to score by Manchester City when they were thrashed in October, but he delivered on his insistence that lessons had been learned at a tumultuous Old Trafford on Saturday lunchtime. Arsenal, Liverpool and Tottenham have all been beaten here by United this season, but victory over Premier League champion City and the manner in which it was achieved is by far the most powerful statement of Ten Hag's tenure.
All right, now in arts and culture, Sounds of Malawi acoustic session returns with pomp, and that's of course the headline of one story which appears on the arts and culture page in the Daily Times newspaper. Partly it says Sounds of Malawi acoustic session returned in great stream on Thursday after a short festival break at Jacaranda Cultural Center and Luntha, bringing performances of ethnomusician Waliko Makala, saxophonist and musical lecturer Rick Deja, a Grosso and Jacaranda culture troupe.
Sam Shower celebrates foreign artists in new video. Contemporary Afro jazz gospel musician Sam Shower has released a music video for his song Tamkumana, which is a tribute to artists the industry has lost over the years. The same song also celebrates the life of his father. In an interview, the artist said he decided to release the music video on Chilembwe Day as a mark of respect to those who left a mark in people's lives.
All right, lastly, Bochi soldiers on with inclusivity awareness, and that's of course the headline. Partly the story says musician Bochi on Thursday featured on an American Instagram live show on deaf awareness and sign language. The latest interview came barely 2 days after the artist spoke to BBC on Tuesday about how he has been speaking for the voiceless with a particular focus on persons with disability. The musician has taken a new direction with his music as he wants to use his talent to speak for the deaf community.
Right, I think that also concludes the program.
All right, and you can purchase the Daily Times newspaper 1,000 Malawi kwacha, and also I think
National also is going at 1,000 kwacha.
All right, thanks for watching. You've been with me, Helbert Skatanda, and my friend
Bernard Manza.
Goodbye for now.